They learn so much in middle school from 6th grade to 8th grade. Their processing and their development of their study habits and their work habits is huge. Elementary school, when you stay in the same classroom most of the time, you might have one or two different teachers, but the reality is you don't have 8.
Having students learn and focus on improving their organizational time management and homework recording skills is awesome.
Teaching our students those skills and getting them to develop their skills in their own kind of ways of doing things is kind of a high priority.
It's interesting because many of them who think they've got that organizational system or that agenda system, the ones who are struggling don't always know that it's broken.
The beginning of the semester was pretty nuts, and he just had no idea of what was coming, what was due, by when.
If it was like I didn't have any work, then I could just remember that one thing, but if I had like multiple things going on, then I would like forget.
I think the biggest challenge that I see is the planning. So planning time to get all of their responsibilities in, their homework, their sports, all of that.
Like she'll estimate that it will take 15 minutes when it might take 40. Your assignment might take 5 minutes when it takes about 20.
If I forget my homework, then it stresses me out. So it's nice to like have a checklist where I'm like, okay, I know that I did all of this stuff, so I'm good in that class and that class.
There was an incentive for doing it, like you get something.
That was actually quite the motivation. Consistently spoke about I'm earning money, and I think like the micro rewards, which might result in like candy or maybe stuff that he would earn at home. Like those work really well.
They liked earning the points. They liked earning the rewards. So I think that was kind of motivating for them to write their assignments down, but also to kind of check off their to-do list.
Having done this 20 years, there is absolute value in to-do lists, prioritized lists, and then the feeling of it's done.
But so at least from the conversations that we had at school, like he was definitely being more proactive around homeworks, understanding what was coming, when it was due.
Having a plan is important. Following through on the plan is important. And when they were able to do that, I do think that it helped alleviate some of the stress of once I'm behind, I'm always behind, and help them build that confidence like, hey, I got in all my work.
I liked feeling like I didn't have to check in quite as much. It felt like she was more on top of it, and I was getting more time for her to tell me like about fun part of hearing like what they were learning or what they were doing.
I saw serious growth in a lot of those kids, and the fact that they became more organized. They began to see the merit in recording homework independently and not having a teacher or a parent or someone else do it for them, which was awesome. In general, just seeing kids grow and be more invested in planning out their own education and getting some ownership was really great to see.
At the beginning of last semester, we were having a lot of conflict around him being more organized, around him being more clean around the house, and like this semester, it has been like a drastic change.
Probably looking at the calendar because I'm like very visual and I like to see like which days I'm doing what.
The form that they filled out to enter the assignment with like the time and like what they need. Like I thought that was very helpful for kids because it really made them think, how long do you really think this is going to take you to do?
So it's amazing to see him, so early in elementary school, middle school, already interacting, planning, and I also like the way that you structure the program itself.
It was kind of like a weird change to go from my old school to going to a public school. So I feel like Adam really helped with that because it kind of kept that like schedule in. So I felt like I was on top of everything and I felt like good in all my classes.
Looking back now at having completed the Adam program, it was awesome in the fact that it had kids really just stop and pause and just think about these skills, right? Because a lot of kids are just like, oh, you just organize your locker and your backpack, but actually teaching explicitly these skills, I think, was super valuable, because it's stuff that I think kids are just expected to do by teachers, but never actually taught by anybody. And it's really important to do that.
I feel pretty good about next year because I have a lot of those self-management skills now, and I feel like I can try to space things out and work on them at like a good schedule.
I see her trying to implement that. She's got some summer reading, and she was already like planning out, okay, if I read the books during this time frame and I take some notes and then I write during that, she's using that right now over the summer to try to break it down so it doesn't, because at first she looked at the summer reading assignment, it felt a little overwhelming.
Thinking about when you were asking me some of these things, I was like, oh my goodness, yes, this is a problem. And then I reflected on it again at the end, and I was like, wow, yeah, like we've come a long way. So I think it's great. I love what you're doing. I'm so happy it has this opportunity, because like I certainly never had that. I had to learn time management, like running into a wall consistently, during my life.
It makes them a better student right there and then, right? They're able to break down projects, figure out study times is really valuable. And I think it sets them up for success long after the intervention has ended, right? These are skills that they can do in middle school, high school, college, at work and beyond. And I think that that's really important to have kids work on these things with somebody who knows how to guide them along as they go.